Hi everybody, I'm Dave Black, and I'm in the company this evening of Sally The Teenage Westie, who's my wee Westie, my little pet, and my best friend. And we're out for a walk in the evening because we've had our dinner and everything, and it stopped raining, which has been raining all afternoon really, so this was our best chance to get out. And we're just walking from the centre of Whiting Bay south towards Kildonan through Whiting Bay, and we're just going to go from the centre to roughly nearly the caravan park and then back again, and that'll take her at least an hour, and that'll be a good walk for her because she's an old dog. So like I say, it's dark and dry and mild, and I'm standing at the edge of the beach on a little path that goes past the putting green, looking out over the beach to the mainland beyond, over the sea. It's a calm sea. I don't know if you can hear it. I've said before, I'll measure things in stone's throws, so I would say that's 2 stone's throws away from me till I hit the water. So it's a great beach that Whiting Bay's got, very sandy, and I can just see that stretching off in distance and make out the sea beyond, and in the very far distance, about 12 or 13 miles away, are the lights of the mainland. And because we're so low, most of the horizon isn't lit by lights. It's only patches of lights, because of course when it's so far away you can't see that many of them. I'd have to be higher up. Behind me, as I'm looking at the sea, is the main road, and a bus and a car just went past there. That's the Stagecoach number 323 bus, which goes from Brodick through Lamlash and Whiting Bay. It was just a nice orange bus just went past there. Probably heard it. So I'll just tell you just briefly, in case you don't know, about Sally, the Teenage Westie. She has been on Arran for just over 3.5 years. So it's a little bit breezy here because we're on the shore, so you'll hear the wind a little bit. And she spent the first 12.5 years of her life in a flat in Kent with a disabled man who couldn't leave the flat, and who did love her but couldn't get out. And then the end result was she didn't get out, so she didn't get any walks, she never got out of the flat, and she was rescued at 12.5 and spent a few months in the care of some foster dog carers, and then that's when I came across her, and she came back to Arran, and has been here ever since. When she came to Arran, just before she came to Arran, the state that she was in at 12.5, she was arthritic and very unfit, of course, because she'd never been walked, so she actually couldn't even step up a roadside curb in her own. You had to lift her. She had to have 8 teeth pulled, 3 lumps cut off her body. I'll just grab her because I think it's going too close to the edge there. There we go. I've got a torch in my hand, by the way, so we're now walking along the grassy seafront bit here, and there's an edge to it where the tide's kind of washed away part of the grass, and I've got a torch in my hand, but I've got to make sure that Sally doesn't go over the edge because it's quite dark, pretty much pitch black, so just keep an eye on her just in case. There we go, that's her past it there. So she had to have 8 teeth pulled, 3 lumps cut off her body. She had cataract, she was quite deaf. She had lots of problems. She was in a bad way, and of course she was an old dog already at 12.5. That's quite an old dog. So these things got dealt with, and then you think, well, she'll just live out whatever time she's got left here, but she's just carried on, and she's lasted a lot better than I ever thought she would have. In fact, this is the third Westie that I've had, and she's lasted longer than the other two that had all the chances. She's now 16, fully fledged adult Westie, or adult miniature polar bear as I like to see her, and she's still going. 5 months ago she suffered from complete liver failure, which Westies are prone to, and the day came when she was to be put down, actually, because she hadn't eaten for days and she had lost all her weight and she just couldn't digest any food. And I had tried one last thing on the day that she was to get put down. In fact, it was going to be the next hour, and that was to try and give her some food that was in her water bowl, because she wouldn't eat anything because she couldn't process it, and she was just wasting away. And you wouldn't let a dog suffer like that, and that's quite right. So this was the last chance. This one bowl of food, blended food, and I'm telling you this because it worked incredibly well. She hadn't eaten for days. I put this bowl of blended homemade food, I make it, but it could have been any food, in a water bowl, because she would drink, and she had 2 meals in one go. All these nutrients went straight in, and she didn't take the trip to the vet, and I thought that would have held it off for a few days maybe, because you can't really fix a failed liver. And lo and behold, everything reversed over the next few weeks. She put all the weight back on, went back onto solid food, and she's still here 5 months later, back to where she was before that problem with her liver. Just an old dog plodding along, eating well, chubby, and actually, if anything, eating too much. She eats everything. And she also gets some blended food still, because I subsequently found out that that's actually a lot better for you than unblended food, even for us. So you can get good out of everything that's bad. Here's the good thing. Not only that Sally, of course, ate and survived because of that blended food. I don't know how she reversed it. Nothing's happened to her. She didn't get any operations or anything. So that's her doing, not me. But I did learn about blended food, and it turns out that's much better for her anyway, because it releases all the nutrients and vitamins that she can't necessarily get by digesting it. It's almost pre-digested by blending it. There's the bus on the way back. We wave at the bus driver. Nice thing about the village, when cars go past, or in particular the buses, and you know them, so they'll flash their lights or wave at you or whatever, and it's just very friendly and relaxed, and I just love that about Arran. We know each other, you can rely on each other to help out and things, and it's just lovely to have that community, and that bus is a good example of it, just going past there. And they'll know who I am and also who Sally is. But anyway, so going back to the story, I learned about blended food, and it's better for me and for Sally, it turns out. So I've been making homemade soup for years, and that's the one thing I do make and eat all the time, vegetable soup, and I've started blending it since then, because it turns out I am going to get an awful lot more vitamins out of it as well. So Sally and I are both healthier as a result. But the main thing is Sally's doing fine. So she's walking along just beside me. She's off the lead, because that's the way she always is. In fact, I don't even have a lead with me, and I don't need one, because Sally and I have an understanding. She was pretty much deaf in the gutter, so she doesn't know any commands. I don't know what words she knows. I don't know any words that she knows at all, none. But I don't need to, because she only needs to do one thing, and that is stick with me. And I only need to do one thing likewise, and that is stick with her. So the two of us are just plodding around. We're still at the edge of the road here with, I'd say the shore's now about 4 or 5 feet away, and then the tide's out, so the sea, like I say, is a couple of stone throws away. But the actual shore is only the length of my body away from me and Sally. It's just a narrow strip of grass between the road and the shore, and that's what we're walking along. He's waiting for her. He says a couple of feet behind me, catching up. And so that's the understanding we've got, and that's all we need to know. She follows me or I follow her. In the end, we don't get split up, and we complete whatever journey it is together. And there's something to be said for that as well. I think there's probably a lesson to be learned from that kind of a relationship, because it really doesn't get any simpler than that. Okay, now I'm just going to step over the road here, and that's Sally crossing the road already. So we're now in the middle of the road, the car's gone past. I don't need to tell her to do that. She just follows over the road, and that's us on the other side. No commands, no drama. And she'll stay on the road now. She won't step back over onto the... She'll stay on the pavement. There's a curb and she won't step off it. She won't chase anything or do anything. She just follows me, and then I wait for her if she's hanging about. And that's a great understanding. And from my point of view, almost a perfect relationship, because it's drama free. And really, you know, there's a good reason why Sally's my best friend in that respect, or my best companion. There's no drama. We've got this unbreakable understanding. It's very simple. Nothing's going to happen to disrupt that. We're not going to fall out. We'll just stick with each other, and that's it. So it's a real pleasure to have... Sally's a remarkable little dog, and she's so good-natured, incredibly good-natured. I've had these other couple of Westies, and they were feisty and tough, and they would defend their territory, and I admired them for their, you know, their big dog attitude in a small white dog's body. Very brave. This one's completely different. She just loves everybody and everything. She's got no aggression in her whatsoever. And as a result of that personality, and also COVID, which I'll explain, Sally's become quite well known. In fact, it's possible that Sally's the best known person or name currently living on the Isle of Arran, because at the beginning of COVID I made this decision that wherever I went I would put a photo or a bit of film, but it was usually just photo, of wherever I went with Sally or wherever I went for a run, just so people could see the island, because no one could come here. If you remember, during COVID lockdown, everyone was locked down. They couldn't leave their house unless they had a good reason to. You know, it was essential work only, and you couldn't go out for exercise or something. But you could go out for walking the dog. And so I would walk Sally, and wherever we got to, I'd take a photo of Sally, you know, on the beach or whatever, and post it on Facebook. And she got an awful lot of people following her posts because of that, because they couldn't see Arran, but they could with the benefit of Sally showing them, taking them places. So she became quite well known, and I've done photos and little videos ever since, which are easy to do, because Arran's such a beautiful place, and I just love the place so much myself. So yeah, another good thing that's come out of something bad. We had COVID, which was obviously very bad, and lockdown, which an awful lot of people didn't enjoy. And the good thing for her or for other people is that they got to see Arran through her. In fact, I spoke to a woman. I work at the ferry, for the ferry at Caledonian, McBrain and Brodick, and I spoke to a lady, sold her a ticket, and she said to me that she had moved to Arran because she had been watching Sally The Teenage Westie videos, had never even been here, and then loved the place so much that she actually ended up buying a house and is living here now. Alright, how you doing?
How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks, yeah.
Right.
Alright, it's nice to be out, isn't it?
Guitar tonight?
Oh, I'm actually just recording the things tonight with Sally, so I've not got the guitar with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll give Sally for the guitar.
How you doing?
Cheers. There we go. So, yeah, like I was saying, it's nice. You pass people you know. There's another one there. And what he said there, he says, "Where's your guitar?" And actually he's right. This is a dry night, and it's a bit unusual, I know, but what I started doing with Sally, she walks slowly because she's an old dog, and so despite the fact I'm not allowed to do this, I've been multitasking for quite a long time when we're dog walking, and walking Sally and bringing the guitar with me and playing it and singing songs as we walk along the village, which I would be doing tonight. So he was right about that. This is a dry night, and as standard I would be actually doing that, and the only reason I'm not is because I've got my camera in my hand and I'm talking at it. Yes, and so I know that's unusual, but I just love to do that, and that was another benefit of COVID as well, because I didn't do that before COVID came, and but then when we had lockdown and the place got so quiet, I would have been too shy, to sing or get the guitar out and things when the place was busy, but it was empty. There was really no one else around, and so I just started doing that, and I've done it ever since. The same as I was talking about with blending food. Now we've stopped at a puddle here because Sally's just drinking, and what's he going to listen there? There's Sally drinking. The sound of happiness. So that's the proof I've got a dog with me anyway. We've stopped at a puddle outside the Eden Lodge Hotel with the Most restaurant and bar. It's called Most, and that's the last real public bar left, certainly on the main road. There's the golf club on the top road at Whiting Bay, and it's got a bar, but this is the kind of public bar that anybody can go to, and it used to have 5 or 6 in the main road, and people have just started drinking less and less, so we've ended up with just really the one. I've passed a restaurant already, just as I started talking to you when we're just walking away from the shore restaurant. So there are other eateries here, and I'll go past the coffee pot in a minute as well, although it's closed just now because it's the evening. But as far as pubs go, this is really the only one. But it's nice that Sally's drinking out of a puddle because, like I said, she was in a flat for 12 and a half years. She never got out. So actually terrible thing, the first walk I took her was on this exact route that I'm on just now, and we came across a puddle and she just stopped and she didn't know what to do, and I think because she'd never seen one before is what I think, so that was a bit of a shame. So that's the nice thing there, because she has always thought water came out of a bowl and that's all, and she's been an Arran long enough now to realise that in fact water's everywhere. There's nowhere in Arran that there isn't water, because we get so much of it, and we don't have a problem with water. It's very, very rare that Arran ever experiences real problems with water. Most times if we have problems with water, we've got too much. We get heavy rainfall, we benefit from mild weather all year. We don't really get the frosts and things, and I've got a palm tree in my garden because of that. In fact, there are several palm trees there. Even the Eden Lodge there's got a palm tree. So, in fact, I'm just coming to the coffee pot now. I'll see if they've got one as well. There's one at the house after it anyway. They're all over the place because of the mild weather, so it's not all bad, but what we get is wind and rain. It's mild because it's windy and rainy, so we have an awful lot of rain about the place, and not really any problem with droughts particularly. So Yeah, but I'd settle for that kind of weather pattern. I'd rather have that than what I was hearing England had this summer, which was temperatures which they, I think, quite regularly get in the summer in the 30s or mid 30s. We just don't get that. We get low to mid 20s, and that's really the height of the summer at that point. I'll just get Sally over this road here. So we're at the coffee pot now, and this is the main junction. You can see a torch coming down the road. I don't know if it's a person or a horse, but in any case I'll just get her over. That's the only thing. Gotta make sure. There we go, back up on the pavement. I'm now at the coffee pot, and yes, right enough, I can see at least one massive palm tree there. So yeah, that's a good indication of the kind of climate we've got. Very nice. In fact, one of those two people coming down the hill is wearing shorts, even though it's night time. So that's not too bad. But yeah, Arran gets I remember reading in the local newspaper, the Arran Banner, that Arran gets twice the rainfall of Edinburgh and 1.5 times the rainfall of Glasgow, and that's because the rain comes from the west, from the Atlantic, and as it works its way across Scotland it becomes progressively lighter, but then they get harder frosts and colder temperatures in the winter. So, you know, give with one hand, take with the other, just depends how you see it. Cup half full, cup half empty. I'm going to see it as half full here, because as a runner, rain really doesn't matter too much. Even wind, it can be a challenge and it can be a blessing if it's behind you, but really cold temperatures and frost and snow make things hard. So I don't mind this. No, I'm used to it. I certainly have to be. So I've been here for 38 years now, and I only came for a holiday in 1984. So there's been some holiday, and clearly the best holiday of my life. I came from Glasgow, and I just loved the place. And it was Whiting Bay I came to, and that's exactly where I am now. So I've seen all the changes. But in essence the place hasn't changed, because it's just beautiful even after 38 years. Stunning. This is Sally just having a wee sniff there. I'll just make sure there she goes, just waiting for her there. Anyway, my camera only records for about 28 or 29 minutes, and I can see, because I'm getting professional at this now, I've got about 6 minutes left, so I think I'm going to spend just a few of them just describing what I'm looking at. So I'm now approaching just a small kind of grassy area, which has a park bench in the middle of it, and there's a sea wall. So there's the road between me and the sea wall, and then looking out over the sea. I can't see the beach anymore because this wall is here to protect the road, because the waves are very high at this point and crash against this seawall and sometimes come right over the top of it when it's stormy. So unlike the first part where you're just looking at the beach, this is more protected. This is a lower part of the road, like the lowest part. So in fact what I'll do, Sally's on this side, but I'm going to cross the road and I'll just go over to this seawall. Hopefully you can hear the sea. I'll see what Sally does. She's staying on the other side of the road and just looking at me. That's amazing. What I can see on the left, Holy Isle, the last few lights of Whiting Bay, Sambraze, and then Holy Isle, big island between Lamash and Whiting Bay, which is owned by the Buddhists, and has only got 2 lights on it, both of them flashing. It's got 2 lighthouses on it. I can see one of them, and that's a green flashing light, and there's a red flashing light on a buoy in front of that. Then I've got the mainland going from left to right, from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock in front of me, and a stony beach. This is the only kind of stony part of the beach in front of me, just immediately in front of me, and then there's a lovely stretch of sand to the sea. and all the lights of the mainland. The lights are lighting up the sky a little bit, so you can see kind of slight orange white tints to the sky where the lights are above them, and where there aren't any lights that goes very dark. You can't really quite see where the sea stops and the sky starts, but where it's bright, and right in front of me at 12 o'clock I can see there's a squall of rain falling on the mainland over there, because there's just a black patch right down to the horizon. So somebody's getting pelted with rain there, but not me. And I didn't expect to be, because I looked at the weather forecast before we came out, and it said we were going to be dry for the next few hours, and then it's going to rain about 1 in the morning. And it has proved to be very accurate. This has been lovely. Sally's just plodding along on the grass beside me, just catching up now. There's no traffic on the road whatsoever. It's just lovely and quiet. We're in October, so it's not the busiest time of the year, and it's a weekday. It would be busier on the weekend, but it's late on in the evening as well. And like I said, the village doesn't have that many pubs, so one of the nice things about that, I'm on the roadside, and you've heard there's only been 3 or 4 cars and a bus going past, and I probably knew all of the people in those cars as well. So it's really very nice to walk here, and that's what I was saying about playing the guitar and singing, because I've only passed one person on this walk so far, and I knew him, and he even knows I play the guitar and sing, so it's not a surprise, you know. Sally's deaf almost entirely, so I don't suppose she'd mind anyway, but it's not going to annoy her, even the duff notes, because she can't hear anything pretty much. Oh, here's somebody coming. What I'll do, I'll just sign off here, because I think he's going to talk to me, and that's me only a minute left anyway on this, and I'll come back out again and do another recording with Wee Sal very soon. Okay, nice to have your company. See you later.